Hey there, hi there, ho there. Welcome back to issue number 7.
Lucky number 7.
Slevin?
Slevin?
I have no idea.
Can I talk today? Apparently not.
That was a whole movie, Lucky Number Slevin. I don't know if you remember that one.
I remember Lucky Number 7? No, I remember the movie 7.
Yeah, I know. There was a whole other one, Slevin.
Wasn't 7 the one with Brad Pitt and the mysterious box?
Yes, and the monkeys. Or no, that was 12 Monkeys. Who knows? Brad Pitt's in a lot of stuff where he's involving serial killers and other things. Who cares? It's Comic Book 101 time. I, of course, am your beautiful, lovely, majestic host, the Princess of Weird, Josh Johnson.
Who said he was beautiful?
And to my left, it comes with being a princess.
Okay, you get that one.
And to my left,
Michael from Cosplay in Tampa Bay.
Yes, indeedy, and we are
not
here
so beautiful
to dissect the world of comic books and comic book shops of the week. I'm excited. I know Michael was. He was at Pensacon 2020 this year.
That's a secret right now.
Oh, no, it was not. You seem to forget that I have got my eye on a lot of people in a lot of places, and my... one of my minions from Cerise had his eye on you over the weekend. And
I was there.
What was it like meeting Butterbean?
Butterbean.
See, you didn't even know I knew that, did you?
Did I tell you I met Butterbean?
No, you did not. See, I've got people in the know. This is why I am a princess amongst princesses.
So before I'll talk about Pensacon later, but let me actually answer that question about Butterbean. So he wasn't in the normal meet and greet area where you would meet everybody. He actually sells some pretty cool stuff. He redoes old-fashioned razors.
Does he sell Bart Gunn's jaw?
No. He makes razors and pens.
Oh.
So it's pretty cool. Sadly, Butterbean's not as healthy as he used to be. He's actually wheelchaired now. He's in an electric wheelchair, but he's still healthy. He still has great spirits. He was fun to talk to, very positive guy. I actually enjoyed talking to him for about 10 minutes till he got real busy. Super nice guy.
A couple of the people I knew who were up at the Pensacon as well. Like I said, I know people in places and areas. So they happened to say he was a very nice individual. I asked him a little bit about the Brawl for All, because for all of us out there, we know that I'm a professional wrestling fan and I work in the wonderful world of independent professional wrestling. And the Brawl for All from WrestleMania, I believe 15 it was, with him versus Bart Gunn, by far one of the greatest things ever.
I was hoping to find a picture of that, because if there was, I would bought you that autograph, but he didn't have. The only things he had some from MMA, his boxing career.
The Tough Man competitions.
And the funniest thing he had was a photo from him on Jackass.
Nice.
He had a photo from that. I'm like, that is awesome.
But yeah, he knocked out Bart Gunn.
Oh, yeah.
Good, clean, like in a legit fight. And you know what the best thing about the Brawl for All was? The guy who made it to the finals and got knocked out by Butterbean, Bart Gunn, the tournament wasn't made for him.
Yeah.
The entire tournament was actually made for a guy named Dr. Death Steve Williams, who they wanted to, he was a legitimate badass.
Big push they were
and he was going to be the guy that they wanted to win, but unfortunately they didn't do what they normally do in pro wrestling, and everything was a little bit more shoot style, and Bart Gunn gets knocked out and not Dr. Death. And here we are talking about it on a comic book show.
But what did you do
wrestling.
This past weekend?
I happened to hang out. I read some comic books. I went to the shop, of course, Yancey Street Comics. As always, they are a lovely, wonderful local shop that we always happen to visit at. And then, of course, I also happened to spend some time with my family. I watched Frozen 2 finally. I finally got it over. I finally know who Samantha is. Do you know who Samantha is?
No.
One of Olaf's friends. She was somewhere. But honestly, really great movie. I loved every bit of Frozen 2. It was one of those things. I've been talking to some friends and my wife and a few other people. With this movie, it was reminded me a lot of, you know how when your favorite band, they make a one CD that's absolutely amazing, the CD that hooked you to them, but then they got a second CD that comes out. It's not as good as the first, but still as good, and you're still as into it, and like you can't break away that. That was Frozen 2 for me. I absolutely still love the music, was amazing. The story was a lot darker this time around, which I like darker things, so really amazing. Olaf had like a lot of amazing parts, and Kristoff and Sven have a duet. And if you want to hear a man and a reindeer singing about a lost love, this is the movie for you. Frozen 2, which I will be talking a little bit more Frozen in my weekly purchase for the week.
Friday, I saw My Hero Academia.
My Hero Academia nuts?
No.
My good friend Dr. Cube. That's how we always refer to it as, because Well, you said it was like a third-rate Johnny Quest. Is this true?
No, it's a lot better.
All right, well, Dr. Cube lied to me again, so...
Yeah. But My Hero Academia, Heroes Rising came out. Select theaters, limited time. I think today's actually the last day you can see it in some theaters.
You gotta love those select screenings on certain movies.
Yeah, this one... So My Hero Academia Rising, My Hero Academia, the TV show right now, I think we're on season 3 or 3 right now, but the movie takes place during season 6. But what happens in here is not going to affect anything from the shows. It's weird how they do it.
Yeah.
So it was a great anime. It's definitely, if you're into My Hero Academia, go watch it. Even if you're not caught up, you still can watch it, enjoy it. It's not going to have any spoilers.
All right, well, there you go.
It was a lot of fun.
So he watched My Hero Academia.
I watched it in Japanese, so I had to read the whole time.
Oh, I'm sorry that you had to watch a dub of a Japanese cartoon.
So the worst part is having to go bathroom 30 minutes after it started, and you can't get up and go because you don't want to miss anything.
Did you bring a bladder buddy?
No.
Well, you just wet yourself?
Like, I'm good. And once it was over, all right. Done.
All right. Well, that was our week in between times from Tuesday to Tuesday. However, we actually happened to talk to our good friends over at Yancey Street Comics, and they have another amazing signing coming your way with Starship Down.
Yes, on March 21st, 12 p.m. till 2 p.m., 2 hours. Who knows if it's a big turnout. May end up being a little longer, but it's going to be with Andrea Muddy is who we're going to meet there. Hopefully we'll definitely be there, get some interviews done, get footage again. And this
is a brand new Dark Horse Comics release.
Fixed my camera, found out the issue. It wasn't really with my camera. It was the wires from the pack we used. But we won't have the sound issue next time.
But there you see it, the official Facebook page of Yancey Street Comics, our local shop that we always spend a lot of time at. You can usually find us there at least once a week.
Sadly, I got to apologize to Steve. I'm sorry I didn't make it in last week. I normally stop by on Fridays because that's the best free time I have. But with the movie,
but I happened to stop in this Friday,
so
which
Steve.
We'll get into in our weekly purchases this week because there was a lot that went on. But first, we've got to talk about our housekeeping and tidying up the place. And the only thing that I happened to get a little bit of a message on was when we started talking about some of the toys of New York Toy Fair 2020, we got some of the distributors a little mixed up, some of the product names a little bit mixed up. Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, there were so many. There were hundreds of thousands of toys released for New York Toy Fair 2020. It's hard for two comic book nerds to keep everything retained in memory and have it all for you. We do apologize, but please go check out all of that great stuff from New York Toy Fair. And
I'm still watching videos from it and everything.
Oh, yeah. Did you actually get to watch that Todd McFarlane with Pixel Dan?
Yes.
That was an amazing interview, wasn't it? And the best part about this interview, not to plug another guy's channel or anything like that, but this interview with McFarlane, he flat out tells you how he goes into his strategy of making action figures and toys.
Yeah.
And it's literally, what is the most oddball thing I can kind of create that they'll let me get away with? And let me market it. Like, he wants to make a Superman toy for his multiverse figures that is a Superman you normally don't see. They have never made another version of this Superman. I can't remember exactly which one it was, because once again, there was a lot of toys, but that was one of the big points that he put across. Azrael was another toy that he was talking about. Nobody really makes Azrael toys, but here he is making one for the DC Comics, DC
McFarlane's
Multiverse.
Always went above and beyond pushing the limit. Even in his comics, he's pushed the limit with the storylines in there. So to do it with the toys is awesome.
But one of the things which will now get us into our weekly comic purchases of the week. Can we hit the graphic? Do we got the graphic this time?
Graphic?
I thought I had a graphic for new comics of the week. I believe it. Yeah, new comics. That's where we're on. Oh, gotcha. I just, losing stuff all over the place. It is new comics of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Michael this week had a little bit of a slow week, but we'll allow him to talk about his autograph. I guess you can kick that one off first. The one that's right here on the front of your computer.
This. So I got to meet quite a few people. I'm not big on collecting a lot of autographs, but right here, Austin St. James, the original red range.
Tyrannosaurus.
Yes.
I don't have a morpher, so I guess this really doesn't work.
So I was actually, before I got this, I was on the floor looking for a pop figure, or morpher for him to sign, and there were none. I was so heartbroken. But so I got the photo. That was probably my favorite one that had him with both outfits. So he was super cool, but I chatted with him a good 10 minutes. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get an interview with him due to reasons that he can't talk about right now, but he has some good stuff coming into work soon.
Oh, I could talk about it. I could talk about it all day. I could do what I want.
But he couldn't.
But he can, and that's the sad thing.
He was super cool. I also got to meet
Power Rangers movie.
If I flip this over right here.
Oh, look at that one.
Douglas. We did a photo op with him. Many of you would know him from Resident Evil. He played Wesker.
Very nice.
And he was super awesome to meet. We did the professional photo op with him. That guy's tall. So he's really cool. We went back to his booth, got the autographs. I decided get the autograph on a photo with him instead of a normal picture. But we met so many other people.
Oh, yeah, and that's really awesome. That's one of the best things about sometimes going to a con is you never know who you're going to meet. When we went to Sci-Fi Con or the Sci-Fi Bartow Con, had no idea we were going to run into
So that
Butch
brings
Patrick.
me to another thing. So you interviewed Butch Patrick, the original Butch Patrick. We know they redid the show.
Yes.
Do you remember who played that character in that show?
In the newer version.
one.
No, because it only made it to a pilot episode. It never actually came out, so I never actually got to see the pilot.
His name was James Marsden. He was Max in a Goofy movie. I got to interview him 2 years ago at MetroCon. He was at the convention this past weekend. So I had to stop by and talk to him again and everything.
Do we have that interview somewhere coming up in the next couple of weeks or something?
I wish I could have got another interview. So it's getting harder to do interviews at some cons. I didn't have a press pass.
Yeah, and that's usually how we get some of these interviews is due to the press passes and stuff like that, because we are diligent reporters and influencers of this world.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on going. Press rules were different than most cons. Normally, even if you go one day, you still can get pass. They had it. You had to be there at 8 in the morning by a certain time. If you weren't there, you couldn't pick up your pass and you forfeited it. So luckily, my friends I went with was like, "You're still coming. We're taking this vacation. We bought you a ticket anyway."
No,
so
that's very
coming.
nice of them. And luckily for them, we helped add some content to the show. It's always good when you get out there to a con.
We got to meet Edward James Olmos from Miami Vice, Babylon 5. He was the admiral. He wasn't
in Babylon 5.
Battlestar Galactica.
I hate you so much.
One of those.
Oh, Captain, my Captain.
I never watched it.
I really hate you. Like, you have no idea.
He was super nice.
Oh, yeah. He's my Captain. I was
surprised.
I love me some Edward James Olmos. I love me some Battlestar Galactica. Just go to him now, Rob. I'm going to be pouting over here for a second because he got to meet the
We
Admiral.
talked to Lou Ferrigno for a bit. Best ones I got to talk to. Met again. Hung out with DDP. So he was cool. Gangrel.
Did you feel the bang?
I've already felt the bang once. I didn't need to feel it again.
Does he drink Bang energy drinks?
I should have asked him that.
There you go.
But
I'm still pouting.
One person I was happy to talk to is a 2-time Hall of Famer. Yes, Mr. Spinneroonie. And that was awesome to talk to.
G.I. Bro himself?
Yes, Booker T. And he said he's working on that 3rd Hall of Fame ring coming up soon.
How can he even get a 3rd Hall of Fame ring?
I don't know. He said it's going to happen. I'm like, how? He's like, I can't tell you, but it's happening. I'm like, all right, I'll take your word on it. But he was actually really cool. Super polite guy, super down to earth.
Oh, I can imagine. It's one of those things of, with Booker T especially, there's no way he can go in 3 times because they already went in for the Hall of Fame as a tag team and as a singles wrestler. He wasn't ever in any notable factions. I mean, he was in the New World Order, but we've already seen the 4 members who are going in. 1, 2, 3, and 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hall, Nash.
I don't know how they're
Hogan,
but
and 6. X-Pac. Yeah, they're a little messed up, but it is what it is.
There's many other people like Laura Petty there, and I actually got the program with me. The artwork I thought was cool.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about Pensacon 2020 a little bit later on when we get to our cosplay of the week, because you got a little special segment I hear for how we're going to handle it this week. Yes. But it was new comic books, and I happened to buy a lot of new books this week. So first and foremost, it is a new month, and we know what a new month brings us. A brand new issue of previews magazines. And if you remember last week's show, I had
talked about it a couple times.
We've talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
I talked about February's issue that told you everything that was coming out for the month of April. Well, March's issue.
March is now.
Everything coming out in May. So this is how it works. You get your big $3.99 for literally this big giant book, plus an entire book based on Marvel comics coming out, and an entire book based on all the DC comics that will be coming out in the month of May.
So for that book, how much was it?
All of this was $3.99. And the best part about it is, if you remember, we were just talking about it a little bit on here. We had happened to mention that, last week was convention time. And what do we happen to have here? But some of those convention toys that we were just talking about. There's some of those Spotlight by Diamond Select. There's Fortnite from Solo Mode Doc Barmer figure from Jazzwares. We've got the new Power Rangers Lightning Legacy collection figures. We've got new Funko Pops that were announced. We've got so many things that were announced. And this is just the toy section, ladies and gentlemen. My Hero Academia, Final Fantasy, so many different things. And like I said, some of the items that we were talking about from the Comic-Con last show are in this magazine. So you can preview and pre-order them at your local comic book shop and have them sent right there to your shop. There's no waiting, there's no holding on or anything like that. Literally, as soon as you place your order, within a couple of months, whenever it comes out, you'll be able to pick it up right at your local comic book shop. So
when you place your order, do you pay for it here or do you pay for it when it actually comes to the shop? Do you know that?
Yes, indeed. But before we get to that, Rob, I wanted to point this out because, like I said, a lot of the things we had talked about Toy Fair are in this magazine, and right here, Deceased. We talked about the
comic last week.
We just talked about the comic, and we talked about at the Toy Fair, they had just announced these figures. They hadn't been seen before Toy Fair, and here they are, the March edition of Previews magazine, and you can pre-order them right now. The first 4 figures, Harley Quinn, Flash, Superman, and Supergirl. You can pre-order them now and have them at your local comic book shop waiting for you without any hassle, no worry, no, am I going to get it, am I not going to get it? Like,
so do you pay for them ahead of time?
Okay. This essentially,
so you just buy them and they get free shipping to your comic shop.
Exactly. So that saves you a lot on time, a lot on money, and if you're going to your shop each and every week like us, it makes it worth it a whole bunch.
If they're delivered to the shop, you don't have to worry about anybody stealing them off your door.
Exactly.
That's the best part right there.
And then, not only did I have to talk about this Previews magazine, but this was a big week for comics. I was only able to buy one comic book this week beyond the Previews magazine, which was this lovely little Frozen comic book that I bought for my daughter because I've been trying to get her a little bit more into comic books. This was at the Dollar Tree for $1. They have Toy Story, Mickey Mouse, Frozen, and Disney princesses. All the books are $1. And if you've got a young one, my daughter's 2 years old, and she loves thumbing through this one. But the biggest news of this week in the world of comic books is a bit of a punchline. And yes,
no pun intended.
I am completely pun intended because we are talking about Punchline, Joker's brand new girlfriend. She was first introduced in one of the books from this week. Now, this is where a lot of things come a little bit of, how do I put this, a little bit mucky, if you will. As you've heard us talk, as a matter of fact, I believe we have one of those interviews that we still have yet to show. So let's go to that interview first about the Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey comic book from Yancey Street Comics with the colorist from that book, Paul Mounts. We are back here at Yancey Street Comics for this amazing Harley Quinn Birds of Prey issue release party. Paul, another contributor to the comic here, thank you for joining us on Comic Book 101.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Thanks for having us.
Now, I got to ask you, what's it been like working on Harley Quinn, especially with the new movie coming out and all of the hype around the character?
It's interesting, and especially trying to keep it fresh all the time and do something different. Amanda's always challenging me with her art to do something different, and so we're always trying to push it a little bit more. Doing a Black Label book allows us to do that, that's for sure.
definitely. I do got to ask, what is one of your favorite outfits to have been working on with Harley Quinn? Because there have been a ton of her that we've now been seeing come out a lot more and more in the movies and stuff like that. What about you? I know everybody has their personal favorite.
There's one that's actually in this new Black Label book that I really like. And there's a full-page shot of it. It's kind of like a vest-type outfit, but you got to buy the book to find out what it looks like. So.
And you can pick up that book in any comic book shop across the United States, eBay, Amazon, wherever you're buying your comic books. We buy them here at Yancey Street Comics because that's where we like to buy our comics. Now, I got to ask you, sir, so you've been working on this character for quite some time. You've done a lot with the character. Is there anything you haven't done yet that you're looking forward to?
As the colorist, I'm kind of coming in at the end of the process, so a lot of the template's already set for me once it comes in. What do I like to do with the character that Amanda and Jimmy have done quite a bit with the character over all the time they've done it. And I guess I've contributed my little bit to it. Amanda says that I was the first person to do the alternating red and blue eyeshadow, and I created that. So I guess that's my contribution to the Harley Quinn characters.
Something that will be eternal, that'll carry on for generations and generations.
Sure, yeah, I'll go with that.
Now, for our listener or our viewers at home, what is the one reason why they should be picking up Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey?
Oh, because it's nonstop fun. And if you liked what Jimmy and Amanda did through their 7 years on the regular Harley Quinn book, and you've been missing it the last year or two, this is the one to go with. This is like everything great about what they've done with Harley Quinn encapsulated and compressed into one tight little package.
Well, thank you very much, Paul, for joining us here on Comic Book 101. We're going to have a lot more coming at you right here from Yancey Street Comics.
And there you have Paul Mounts, the colorist of Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up before we get into some of more of the weekly purchase of this week for new comics is the fact that Punchline was all anybody was talking about this week. Her issues had just come out over the past couple of weeks, and they've already sold out a first pressing of anything that she's attached to but one book. Now, her first appearance may be in Batman number 89. It may be in Year of the Villain number 3, which I will talk about a little bit more in detail in a couple minutes. But everyone is speculating, guessing. If you remember, they were a little hush-hush about it. Amanda Connor, Jimmy Palmiotti, and Paul there about what was actually going on in certain panels of the book. We know Harley Quinn goes from Coney Island back to Gotham City and all of that greatness, but there's a part in the book where Joker gets on his cell phone and starts talking to a mysterious figure. Many people are speculating it
was her.
That it's Punchline, and that would technically be her first appearance in anything DC Comics because she stands there as a shadowy figure.
Yeah.
As we all know in comic books, your first appearance is judged by the first time you are mentioned, your silhouette is shown. Heck, all you need is a part of your t-shirt or arm shown, and that counts as your first appearance.
But they never officially said it is.
Because there's still hush-hush on some of the things in Birds of Prey and Harley Quinn, the new book that had just recently come out.
So with the next comic, if she's in it, then we know it's officially.
Heck, even if in comic 4 she shows up and she makes reference to that conversation, that would be where her first appearance would technically be. However, because it's a shadowy figure, nobody really knew that. Jimmy, Amanda, and Paul were all very hush-hush. They wouldn't even tell Steve or Steve, both of them from Yancey Street Comics, any kind of information on it. But I happened to pry a little bit out, this here and the other. That's kind of why I got the information I have. But we move on to Year of the Villain. And this was an amazing book, ladies and gentlemen. It's DC's Year of the Villain, Hell Arisen. I read issues number 1, 2, and 3 over the weekend because I had to catch up and find out what was going on. Punchline is definitely in issue number 3. She's only in it for a short period in time, but this is an interesting storyline as Lex Luthor returns to Earth after gaining an even more of an alien advantage after he teams up with this mysterious figure and stuff. Like right now, all of the DC villains are kind of going at each other, tearing each other apart, and there's one team led by the Batman Who Laughs, and all of them have been Jokerized and juggaloed out. And the other team is led by Lex Luthor, and he really has nobody because he sacrificed them all to be able to build, to become the person who he is right now. Now, this is a really amazing story, and once again, Punchline makes an appearance of this, so technically it might be her first appearance, but due to the way these comics come out and stuff like that, it's a little bit of a big, huge question mark around it, because if she is in Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey, that would technically be the first. But then in this book, it's one of those things, as these two sides and wars and factions are going at it, Lex Luthor has to go to our good old friend, the Joker. And you know what? The Joker, the actual Joker, not Batman Who Laughs, who is Bruce Wayne mixed with the Joker. The actual Joker shows up with Punchline, and they wound up making kind of a deal with Lex to try to help him out a little bit in the battle with the Batman Who Laughs. We will see the conclusion of this battle in issue number 4. However, this issue and this storyline has been going on for quite some time now. It's actually been going on since May of 2019. And it's, as we all know, sometimes we talk about these big world events and these big comic events, like we're going to talk about in the next few months about Empire here with Marvel Comics and the end of the Kree-Skrull War. However, in DC Comics, they've been doing this Year of the Villain. I'm assuming by the time we get to May, this all comes to an end. We're already in March. We've only got 2 more months to get into May. But, once again, March's issue of Previews Magazine lets us know what's coming out in May, and Year of the Villain leads into Dark Knight's Metal. That's right, but it's not just metal this time, it's Dark Knight's death metal.
So we see Superman with long hair.
Yes, this isn't
metalled out. Like,
this isn't your normal Superman. This is a Superman from another multiverse, because the metal series, the Dark Knight's Metal series, involves the dark multiverse. The new issue of the Year of the Villain, Hell Arisen, deals with the fact that some of the energies of our normal universe can't really affect those in the dark multiverse and some of those characters. So there's a huge war going on between all villains right now, and at some point, the Justice League is going to come back because they've been killed by the Batman Who Laughs, and eventually we're going to get some death metal.
So we have Glenn Danzig, Superman.
Yes,
that's who that looks like right there.
We have Glenn Danzig as Superman. We have Amy Lee from Evanescence playing Wonder Woman, and then of course Robert Pattinson is still playing Batman. But the soundtrack to the movie was played by My Chemical Romance, so we're all happy, and there might be an Umbrella Academy tie-in somewhere. Who knows? I'd be too happy for that. But that is DC's Year of the Villain. It is a huge year-long event that has been going on. The book was a really interesting read. Hard to jump into, especially when you don't really know everything that's going on with the DC multiverse right now and the crisis storylines that they've had going on over the past year. But it was an interesting enough checkpoint to jump into, especially if you're trying to get into that death metal Dark Knight series that's coming out in May, because I really enjoyed Dark Knight's Metal, the first one, which was the introduction of the Batman Who Laughs. Now we're going to see this more evolved into the future editions of some of the DC comics. Then, once again, continuing on our love for Punchline, because these 2 books came out over the past week, and they both sold out of their first pressings.
Which nobody really knew they were coming out, I don't think. I didn't know they were.
Comic shops kind of knew, because when I had talked to Steve about it, blonde-headed Steve over at Yancey Street Comics, he had made reference to the fact they kind of knew, because as we all know, there was a press release released not too far long ago that Punchline was going to be Joker's new girlfriend, that she was going to be introduced to Batman number 89. We didn't know she was going to be in Year of the Villain number 3. We don't know, once again, whether or not it's officially confirmed or not that she's in Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, but she's now full swing into the universe, and they're banking hard on Punchline.
So, okay, we know they sold out. Why did they sell out? What makes her so popular?
So
because she replaced Harley Quinn and everybody loved Harley Quinn so much they want to see how this new thing unfolds?
I think it's a little bit of that. It's one of those things, anytime you deal with the Joker, let's be real, the Joker has won an Oscar. Batman never has. To me, that instant, you talk to normal people, and any comic book fan, anybody, pretty much, they will tell you they're a fan of the Joker, whether it's Joaquin Phoenix, whether it's Heath Ledger, whether it's Cesar Romero, whether it's Mark Hamill, whether it's somebody in the books writing him, whether it's the animators, or any continuity of the Joker. Joker kind of, at this point, trumping over Batman. So the fact that they're introducing a new character, which doesn't really happen that often, to such a huge acclaimed fanfare, and the fact that that was in smaller pressing size. So our local shop ordered 300 to 500 copies. Had they known that it was going to sell like this, they would have ordered 1,000 copies. But this is an issue that DC Comics has been getting into a lot lately because we've seen some stories. We posted it on the Comic Book 101 TV Facebook and Instagram page that DC Comics is now starting to have some financial problems because they're not selling books like they used to. And instances like this is the reason why. When you have a character that everybody's buying and clamoring for, one shop buys 300 copies of a comic book and every single copy goes. Yeah. They obviously have to do a second pressing of it, but you got to wonder how many people are going to buy that second pressing just to get the story because the money's not going to be there anymore. The only money there is in this first pressing because, like we've said with Kick-Ass, like we've said with other books, it depends on how many numbers there are of the book and how many people are buying that book. $20-$40 right now for a first pressing of Batman 89 and Year of the Villain, #3, Hell Arisen. They're going for a pretty penny right now.
That's where I see the hard part. We've talked about how do you know what comics to buy to invest in. Nobody would have ever saw this coming, that this one would have jumped up in price.
We had even talked about it a little bit in private, like off screen and stuff like that about the character. And it was one of those things, like at first I was like, I don't really want this book. I don't really care. But then you start seeing people going, oh, no, I need this book. And then starts flying off the shelf.
So I have no problem.
It came out Wednesday.
Pressing of it.
It came out Wednesday. By Friday, they're sold out. That's 2 days of a comic in stores.
So I want to go on something else you just kind of hit on. DC kind of not doing too well. I know there's a rumor, a internet post I saw, possibly Marvel taking over for them or something.
As far as I've heard and anything I've read about the situation, it's a lot of rumor, hearsay, speculation, nothing concrete. You know,
it's a lot of stuff in talk right now.
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to is DC Comics, as of right now, has been having some issues selling comics, selling books, because the comic industry as a whole, more people are going to the movies and stuff like that than they are going to our local shops. This is why we do the show, to get some people to the local shops.
Which I won't lie, I was one of them. I used to collect comics when I was younger. I stopped movies. I just grew. I don't want to say really grew out. I just didn't have the passion for collecting comics like I did until recently when we started the show up again. I'm like, okay, now if I'm doing this, I need to actually physically go out, buy comics, and support it and everything. So that's why I'm getting back into it. So I can see them not making money on it.
Yeah, to continue on, like with this Batman #89, with the introduction of Punchline here, she's a new character. She's brand new to this comic book. And like we said, nobody knew it was coming, knew the book was coming, but nobody knew that it was going to be as popular as it was. And even more so, it's in the middle of a story that is already going on. I did not realize that when I started reading issue 89. There's 2 other issues of Batman, I believe 88, 87, that has more of the story that's going on in 89.
So because by 89
you have no idea
what's going on.
Exactly. And Punchline, if you're buying it for her, I believe we have an image of her somewhere. If we can throw that up on the screen for Batman #89, she's only in the comic for about 2-3 panels. She's not in it that long. There you see her on the screen. There's Joker's new girlfriend. There's Batman #89. And pretty much the story is somebody has been hired to kill Lucius Fox, and Batman's going through basically the rogues gallery trying to figure out who it is, only to find out that it's a brand new rogue and everything like that.
Doesn't even know about.
Harley Quinn winds up coming into the book and teaming up with Catwoman and trying to help her out. The whole while, Punchline is watching Harley Quinn because the Joker put a hit out on her, and Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey made a call to somebody to be watching her. Might not be the first appearance of Harley Quinn or Punchline here, and who knows? Once again, nobody expected Harley Quinn to blow to the ranks that she has. And it's only no
thing
telling.
Is with Harley, it took a while before she actually blew up. She didn't get popular overnight.
It was one of those things. In a way, she did, because anybody who was a fan of the DC animated show, they hardcore got into her. Like, that's where I first saw her, and it was only a matter of time as more of the material came out.
For cosplayers and stuff, I don't think she actually got a big push. You saw the classic Harley Quinns here and there, but it wasn't until the movie came out where you started seeing Harley
but that
Quinns
goes
everywhere.
for almost anything. Like, how many kids did you see running around dressed as Green Lantern this year? But when the Green Lantern movie came out, there were a few kids dressed like Green Lantern because the costumes were easily accessible. Heck, when Hot Topic sells you the whole outfit, in one fell swoop of a price, how can you not go and buy that cosplay? Heck, we've talked about it on this show. I'm a fan of Dipper Pines and Gravity Falls. I have a whole Dipper Pines cosplay sitting in my closet for whenever I need it, kind of thing.
So we need to do a cosplay episode one time.
We may definitely have to, but we're going to move on over through new comic books of the week, because that kind of takes care of all of our new comic books, into our figure purchase of the week.
So
I know you didn't happen to pick up anything.
Before you do your figure purchase, I know you like to go to McDonald's a lot.
I love to go to McDonald's.
You get Happy Meals
all the time.
So when he gets a Happy Meal, I get a Happy Meal toy.
Not all the time, because they're on to Onward toys, and I like the Onward movie a little bit.
So last week you told me, when we were I gave you a ride home, I had a toy for you who left it at the studio, and I didn't see it till today. So we're going to open this one up.
It's another Fast and the Furious.
Because a couple weeks ago I opened one, and here's another one.
And they come with the decals. Which one's this one named? It is from the Netflix series Spy Racers. This one is named Snakehead. So there you go. You can
kind of reminds me of Triple H.
You know what?
There you go.
A little bit. You know what it reminds me a little bit more of? Death Racers. Rob is in the back cracking up now, I know, because Death Racers was a hugely amazing movie.
We're going to pop that right there.
But we're going to go onto my action figures.
You like to put your thumb in places.
Yes, I most certainly like to put my thumb in places this week, because this week I am opening a 1997 Jakks Pacific WWF Thumb Wrestlers. And what I love about these figures is there have been many different versions of thumb wrestlers over the years, especially when it comes to professional wrestling and stuff like that. My all-time favorite thumb wrestling figures are the LJN thumb wrestlers from the 1980s, which these look exactly like. Jakks, when they made this line of thumb wrestlers, there's only this set and I believe 2 to 3 other sets as a total for all the thumb wrestlers. Owen Hart, Triple H is 1, Mankind, Undertaker, Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, 3. And of course, Bulldog and Ken Shamrock here. And what makes these things awesome is they're almost a full figure that you stick your thumb in the back and you play around with them and stuff. And thumb wrestle. A lot of them nowadays, they're just the face, or they're like a sticker you put on your thumb. Nope. These, we're going to pop that off, see how easy that was. These are almost like little action figures of themselves. We can look at how yellow that was. Oh,
I don't say, did that come from a... Wow.
And Brandon Rhymes' favorite man, a fellow Weebeam TV star. There he is, Ken Shamrock and the British Bulldog. But these are the figures, and this is how you play around with them pretty much. But what I would do is, because they're almost like action figures and stuff, I would just use them as like normal wrestling action figures. Don't worry about the thumb in the bum. I would just...
All right, I got to see Bulldog, because British, I like...
You like that? But
put him on top of a drink and he's twirling.
And then the most dangerous thumb right here. But there you go. There's my figure purchases. Bulldog. Yeah, I love these figures.
They sit perfectly on the book, too.
Yeah, and like these are amazing. Like I said, they're like the original LJN thumb wrestlers when they had Hogan, Jake the Snake Roberts, King Kong Bundy, Nikolai Volkov. I love those. I want to try to eventually get back into those. I won't be opening those off card because those are really, really expensive. But I might grab some loose ones here and there and try to bring them on the show and stuff like that, because I love this line. I love the thumb wrestlers that look like this, that come from this style.
Only if there was a convention coming up next month that we will be at to look for those.
We might have to keep our eyes, ears, and eye open for... I've got 3 eyes, so it's a whole thing. Never mind. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is our figure purchases of the week. I bought this wonderful Jakks Pacific. Love the Bone Crunchers. Love me some wrestling figures. And we're going to move on to our cosplayer of the week.
So cosplay...
Hold on, let us hit the graphic first. Cosplayer of the week.
Graphic.
Oh. Yeah! So this week we have a very special
It's going to be a
presentation.
little twist. Yes, normally we do Cosplay of the Week where we talk about a certain cosplayer. But because I was at Pensacon, I wanted to show off a bunch of amazing cosplayers. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get everybody's contact information because I didn't even know what photos I would want to show tonight because I got home late last night, busting my butt getting everything ready for these. But I'm happy with it. Let's go ahead and start off with the first photo.
And this is actually at Pensacon.
Yes, so I only went one day. It was Sunday. This was about 9 o'clock in the morning, and that's the line already to get in. So there were 2 lines, normal and VIP. The VIP was on the left. The right side was the normal.
And that looked at, from some of the photos I had saw, like I believe we have another one of the big, huge convention center coming up and everything like that. It looked like a pretty decent sized con, if you will.
I got in, so how you get in, you had to go up a ramp, go in a circle, and there's in the arena.
So just around the riverbed?
Yeah, pretty much. In the arena, that's where the actual dealer's room was. It was a pretty good sized dealer's room. On the far back, if we can pause that photo real quick, you see that section where only some people are in the top?
Yes.
So that was a orchestra, like a high school orchestra. They were playing video game music and anime and movie music.
So instead of playing like regular music over the PAs, they had a full
nerdy
band.
music, which was pretty cool.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. Now, we believe we're going to have to kind of run through these so we can get to our character spotlight of the week. But we have a ton of photos here from Pensacon that are all courtesy of Cosplay in Tampa Bay. If you want to add them on Instagram at Cosplay in Tampa Bay.
I will also be posting these with the actual hashtags and tagging the people in them on Comic Book 101 as well. There we go with some Star Wars characters.
I believe that's a shock trooper.
Yes.
A furry!
With a frisbee. He wanted to play catch.
Well, there you go. I've got some furry love. I almost bought a Furby this week, and thank goodness I didn't. All right, continuing on. Just run through them.
So, characters from It.
Very much.
I shot them later as well. They were Resident Evil characters later in the day.
Oh, very nice.
I don't know what character that was,
but they're definitely well into it.
Quite interesting. They made that.
All right, what else do we have? And this is a little kid dressed as Bumblebee. I believe you said he transformed.
Yes, which
we have video of
another time.
We will try to show video of that next week. What else do we have?
Firefly.
Love me some Firefly.
Captain Mal.
I actually have a cunning hat just like Jane's. What else do we have? Beetlejuice. That's a pretty good one. Once again, if you want to book a photo shoot, please, at Cosplay in Tampa Bay.
Rocketeer.
You can find them on Facebook, Instagram, wherever your social media site is.
And anytime we're at a convention at a booth, I will be there.
A female Mandalorian with a female asset. With the asset. That's pretty amazing. Han Solo frozen in carbonite like he deserves to be. Harley Quinn. I like that photo. That's really good of you, Sarah. Thought she did a pretty decent job. Ooh, Zatanna.
Yes.
Love me some Zatanna. Ash. This is some amazing work. Once again, at Cosplay in Tampa Bay on Instagram, Facebook.
She hand painted that part on the back of the jacket.
Oh, that is very nice.
Those two were the ones from the It cosplayers.
Some more Raccoon City there. I think everybody came as Padme, except for that one on the left there.
And
Evie.
Little Evie.
Very nice, and the big red bus. We have an Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. I love me some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It reminds me of Nick Papagiorgio.
My Hero Academia, I had to throw that in there because of the movie this weekend.
Nice.
I asked everybody that was dressed as My Hero Academia if they saw the movie. And
see, every time I do a con, I usually pick one cosplay that I'm absolutely, or movie or show,
Dresden
and try
Files,
to get everybody.
Which I've never watched that show. Now
Maleficent! That's a pretty decent Maleficent there. Gotta love it. And there you go, Arrow, Zatanna, and Harley Quinn. These are some amazing photos. And like I said, Cosplay in Tampa Bay. Give them an ad on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you go to check out your cosplay photos. So more Raccoon City and Resident Evil people there. And there, of course, is a little droid from the Rebels TV series. Some amazing stuff there. I got to give it to you, Michael. Some amazing photos for Pensacon. It looked like you had a grand old time.
It was all fun. Hopefully next week or so, because I did take some videos. I did do some interviews with some vendors. We'll have those hopefully ready another time. But let's go to what everybody really wants to hear about.
That Joel D Wynkoop interview that you did over at
Do we have
Sci-Fi
time for that?
Barto. Well, of course we do. We still got plenty of time. Let's roll. Joel D Wynkoop, the king of the B horror movie.
Here we are at Sci-Fi Barto, and I'm here with Joel. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. So last time we saw you, we interviewed you, was a year and a half or a year ago.
FX?
No, it
No,
was
not FX.
the event.
FusionCon.
Yes, FusionCon.
Yeah.
So what have you been doing since then?
Man, a lot. I'm up to like 180 movies now. I'm writing one called Beast Mode. I have to finish it because the producer calls me every day and goes, "Is my script done yet?" I mean, it's my script, but he's producing. So I'm trying to finish that. I came back from Missouri a while ago shooting Todd Sheets' Clownado. I worked on a movie called The Paranormal Club with some guys out of Indiana. I actually wrote that, directed it, I produced it, I shot it, edited it, wrote the story. So I got paid to actually, they paid me to write the story, but then also act in it, shoot it, and then edit it. Got it to them, and it was supposed to go in a like a trilogy called The Black Book. But they had it for 2 years, and I was always calling them going, "Hey, is that going to come out?" And finally they said, "Look, this is really unfair to you. We keep you waiting. We're not done with it yet. We're going to help you release it your own." So we cut a deal so they would have the Paranormal Club to sell on their website, and I had it, and it's on the Roku channel too. It's on it's called GPTV. That's Geek Public Television. So GPTV, and then we also got one of ours is on Avail TV called Tangled Web. And so
Tell me about Clownado, because I know someone that does not like clowns, and this movie just sounds really good to watch.
somebody bought that from me at we were at Hollow Scream, and I'll take my movies with me just in case somebody wants one. And somebody said, "I have a friend of mine that hates clowns. Can I buy that clown movie from you?" And I go, "Sure." And that's the reason I sold it. Not because I was in it, not because he wanted to maybe watch it. He just wanted to give it to his friend that didn't like clowns. So yeah, it's full of them. It's that's Todd Sheets' movie, Clownado, and it is about a tornado, but it's like more of a sci-fi type thing where this lady conjures up the tornado and it pulls these clowns into it. They're killer clowns. They get inside it, and then they're transported around, and then they, of course, slaughter and kill a bunch of people. And I'm the airplane guy that they come to see. I play a character named Hurricane Hawk, and the fun part about it is when I was on the plane, I was writing new dialogue, and when Todd Sheets met me at the airport, I go, "Hey Todd, I kind of added some stuff." I said, "Is that okay?" He goes, "That's why I hired you, man." He goes, "I knew you'd do this." I go, and they didn't use it in the movie, but he goes, "There's the on the disc on the extras it says like Hurricane Hawk, and it's all about me, just doing bloopers." And there's a part where I'm flying the plane and I'm going, "I'm giving her all she's got, Captain," because he just let me run with it. So I was coming up with all these voices and stuff inside the plane. But yeah, it was really cool to do. So I'm the guy that flies up and stops the tornado and saves everybody, kind of the hero in the thing. Yeah.
So where can everybody find all your work at?
I just tell everybody it's the greatest invention besides GPS has been Facebook, because you can link up to somebody on Facebook so easy. So if they just look up my name, which is on my banner, Joel D Wynkoop, they'll see me on Facebook. They can write me. They can just say, "Hey, Joel, I want to pick up a copy of one of your movies." A lot of people think they know I've done all these movies, and they search for my distributors to get them. And I'm like, I've got every movie I've made. So you don't got to go to my distributor, because I buy all these DVDs from my I shouldn't say distributor, distributors. I said I buy all my movies from the distributors so I can resell them. So I tell them, just reach out to me on Facebook. And it is funny because so many people are like, "I've been trying to get Creep for a long time and I can't see where to get it." And I'm going, "I've got it. Just ask me."
So there you go. Make sure you hit him up on Facebook. Come pick up a few of the movies. Get Clownado, The Tube. There's a whole bunch of movies. Thank you again, Joel.
You're
I hope
welcome,
you have
man.
a great weekend
Thank
here.
you. We also got the action pack just came out, which is 4 shorts. That's this one here is Peace, Love, Unity, Retribution, but it's a character I play, which is like Cobra.
Awesome.
And then there's Nakota from the Lost Faith movie. This is what he did 35 years later. And then this is Battle Suit, which won a whole bunch of awards, where I put on a battle suit and go out and fight crime. And then Hess is from the Truth and Dare movies. So that just came out too, and the Wynkoop Tales. But yeah, a slew of stuff. Uh-Oh Show, Earth Girls Are Sleazy. See, I put some pepperonis
I
on her
remember that
boobs,
movie.
so just to make sure that
All right.
no one's going to be upset.
All right. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
And there you go. There's Joel D Wynkoop from Sci-Fi Barto 2020.
So he's told me sooner or later he's going to get me in a movie. I keep telling him, just kill me off. Kill me. I'm fine with it. He's like, no, you're too good to be killed off. I'm like, no, just kill me in a movie. I really want to die because of the FX makeup.
Oh,
that would make me happy.
But we're going to move on to our character spotlight of the week.
Do we have a graphic for that?
I believe we do have a graphic for that.
Is our budget high enough for that one?
I don't know. No, I still haven't made that graphic.
We haven't got the budget for that one.
No, we haven't gotten that one in the budget yet.
All right, we got to work that budget pricing out.
Yeah. Maybe next week. Who knows? But this week, we're going to be kicking some ass and licking some names or something like, I don't know how this works.
I'm not licking an ass.
Well,
kicking.
That's a whole nother thing and a whole nother thing. We're talking about Kick-Ass tonight, ladies and gentlemen. An amazing story. Now, this story comes out the very first issue all the way back in February of 2008. This book is over 10 years old now, ladies and gentlemen. That very first pressing of that very first issue fetching for a good couple $100 in today's market. But of course, you can pick up the graphic novel scene on the right there. Mark Millar and John Romita Jr. John Romita Jr., of course, the illustrator on the book. Mark Millar is the man who wrote the book. And this book was so unique because after its first issue had come out and the second issue in 2008, the movie rights sold like that. Literally like that, like a Thanos snap.
I've seen the movie. I've never read the comics.
And it came out in 20, and the movie would come out only 2 years later. As soon as the graphic or the first book was kind of ending, the movie was coming out at the same time. They were literally writing the two of them concurrently.
Was the book? Is the movie similar to the book,
yes,
or was it a whole different story?
So to kind of go through the story here, and what I loved about Kick-Ass so much was the fact that Kick-Ass is one of the rare comic books that shows you what it would be like if me or Michael or Rob or whoever decided we're going to be a superhero now. We get a costume, we go outside, and we try to fight evildoers. It's not going to go really that well. Within the first series of Kick-Ass, Dave Lewinsky is the main character's name. He tries to stop a carjacking. He gets stabbed and hit by a car trying to stop that.
That's how real life would happen.
Yeah. You know, a guy thinking he has the power of flight, builds a flight suit, jumps off a building, and dies because he can't fly. So this is the world of Kick-Ass. And what made this so really unique is that this comic, when it was created, it's actually technically a Marvel comic. It was originally released under one of their secondary imprints. So originally it came out under the Icon imprint, which is part of the Marvel Comics brand. But they eventually moved it, for how popular the book became, all the way to Image Comics, another subsidiary of Marvel Comics. Yes, there are subsidiaries of comic books. We talk about the DC Black Label. We talk about Marvel. We talk about the Max series.
Comics?
Who owns Image?
Yeah.
I believe
Todd McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane owns that one right now.
And that's where Walking Dead's at.
Nice. So there you go. That just kind of goes to show you where some of these books eventually go and stuff like that. So with Kick-Ass, of course, you have the very first issue, and then you get Kick-Ass 2, which continues the story. Now, Kick-Ass number 2 doubles up on the violence, doubles up on the gore. And then, if that wasn't enough, you get a solo Hit Girl series that ties into the second book. So at the end of the first book of Kick-Ass, you go to Hit Girl, and then you go to Kick-Ass 2, then you move on to Kick-Ass number 3, which is the finale of Dave Lewinsky as Kick-Ass. By the end of this book, after he deals with he winds up going out there, and he eventually quits. He quits being Kick-Ass, but becomes a cop instead and starts doing things the legal way as opposed to being a guy in a suit trying to go out and save the day.
Again, it's butt kick where the girl has to save him.
Exactly. And then at the end of that book, at the end of Kick-Ass number 3, we see Hit Girl take the Kick-Ass costume, go off on her own adventures, and start making new Kick-Asses to teach them the ways of what Dave learned.
So she doesn't stay Hit Girl, she becomes Kick-Ass.
No, she stays Hit Girl.
Okay.
She teaches new people, like finds randos who are downtrodden, kind of like Dave was, gives them the costume and makes them the new Kick-Ass.
Okay, so she passes down the suit.
But Kick-Ass goes all the way. Hit Girl then starts going all the way through. she starts going to Hollywood. She goes to Colombia. She goes to Hong Kong. And there you see right there, Michael, Hit Girl in, because Hit Girl goes to a lot of places after the events of Kick-Ass 3 and makes sure that she is delivering the justice that she is known for through the entire series. And yes, that Hit Girl in Hollywood, written by Kevin Smith.
Ooh.
Yeah, we might have to be checking this out.
How old is she in this?
By this point, she's still, I believe, a minor, but due to the fact of some of the things that have happened with her guardians and everything like that, of getting killed, this, that, and the other, she's eventually just going off on her own and stuff. But it's not over. We are now up to Kick-Ass number 4, and there is a new Kick-Ass, and it's a girl. The new girl, if you will. She has 2 tomes out right now, and she is an Afghani war veteran who is going out there trying to provide for her family, trying to provide the best that she can, but unfortunately, you know, she's kick-ass. You know, she's a lot better a fighter than Dave was, obviously, because she has the military personnel.
Trained fighter here.
But that's pretty much what's going on. Then that takes us to the films of Kick-Ass 1 and 2. There you see what they looked like, all of the 3 boys. Before, they would don costumes, become Kick-Ass. 2 of them would go on to be Quicksilver. 1 of them could only stop bullets. The other one couldn't. There you see Christopher Mintz-Plasse. Jim Carrey was in the sequel, which roughly adapted the books of 1, Hit Girl,
McLovin. Right there.
Yes. Kick-Ass 1, Hit Girl Prelude, Kick-Ass 2 all went into the films of Kick-Ass 1 and 2, but were toned down some for the movie-verse because there's some things you can't do in the movie that you were able to get away with in the comics, including a lot more murder and a lot more things that we're not going to talk about on this show. However, that is pretty much everything Kick-Ass. Everything I could talk about, ladies and gentlemen, you will be able to find me in a few short weeks over at New Heights Professional Wrestling. That's right, they are going to have an amazing show over up in Vernon, Florida. I don't know if you know anything about Vernon, but a really screwed up place. I will be there for that over at New Heights Wrestling. Then, come April, it's WrestleMania weekend, and I have a bunch of great shows. I will be a part of Kaiju Big Battle, IPW, Conquer Pro Wrestling, and a few more. That is everything I have going on.
April 11th and 12th, I'll be at UFO Con in Orlando.
Then we got MegaCon.
MegaCon, April 16th to the 19th. I'll be back at MegaCon, and hopefully we'll have everybody from this show and Nerd Talk everybody there.
So please, add us on social media. That's going to do it for us this week. I am the Princess of Weird.
I'm
He
Michael
is Michael
Stanley.
Stanley. We will see you next week.